What is up, everybody, and welcome back once again to our Red Bull Road to Glory series. I do apologize, I haven't been crazy consistent with my uploading right now. I've just been busy. It's the holidays. Of course, the F1 season now completed in real life. I'm really excited to see what will happen for next season in 2024, who can bring the fight to Red Bull, things like that. But in terms of our season right now, next up we have Austria at the Red Bull Ring, and we have a few new messages. Looks like we've got some parts completed. And then in terms of development, we are still the slowest team, but we're exactly even with Alpine and Alfa Romeo in terms of development. So for qualifying, it looks like a slight chance of rain, going to be overcast. However, the sprint is going to be full wet conditions. Well, wet. I don't know if it'll be full wets, but at least intermediates, because it will be raining the entire race. And then for the actual race, the Grand Prix, it will be completely dry throughout, so that's a good sign. So yeah, it will definitely affect how the race strategy is played out, with some extra tires being left over, not being used in the sprint, since we'll be using the wet tires. Fitted a new MGU-H turbocharger, and then a new gearbox as well for this next race. So yeah, let's jump straight into it. Alright, well, here we are in the car, prepared for the first part of qualifying. Looks really, pretty, kind of darkened out there a little bit. You can kind of see it from in this garage here, but let's put the car into park firme. And yeah, everything's good, so let's go ahead and go out for our first flying lap. Alright, well, here we are, ready to start our first flying lap of the day. DRS wide open. Down into turn 1. Don't want to go too wide here, you'll lose a lot of time. Same with going too sharp, cutting the corner. Don't want to bounce over the curbs. Down up into technically the second turn, but what is called turn 2, or I mean 3, but it should be called turn 2. Because of course on the first straight they count that little kink as a turn for some reason. One of my favorite tracks in Formula 1 that they race at. Alright, and that's going to put us P2 behind Perez. And we'll see where that ends us up. Alright, we're here at the end of Q1. I managed to just squeeze through behind Esteban Ocon and ahead of Pierre Gasly in an Alpine sandwich. Nico Hülkenberg last of the pack, which is very surprising, behind Logan Sargent, Daniel Ricciardo being knocked out once again. Alex Albon, both Williams being knocked out. The other half of Kevin Magnussen up in 8th place, so good lap from him here in the first part of qualifying. But yeah, it's another Q2 appearance in the bag. Let's jump into it. Alright, here we go for our first lap of Q2. Nice and tidy through turn 1. Could have carried a little more speed through there, I think, because I just short shifted up into 5 there. down into turn 4. Very awkward place for overtaking. We've seen as years gone by. Cars having incidents through there. Alex Albon and Lewis Hamilton in 2020 comes to mind, as well as Perez and Russell in 2022. Now up into 8th gear as we head towards the comfortable corner. Just tap the brake a little bit, downshift, and head down into 5 for the last corner. Short shifted just a little bit there. And that's going to put us P8 right now behind Oscar Piastri, but ahead of Lance Stroll and the other Alpine of Esteban Ocon. The 2 Alpine drivers, I think, are seriously outperforming their machinery this year. Alright, well, it is a British 1-2 here at the end of Q2. Lewis Hamilton from Lando Norris. And I wasn't able to improve on my lap, unfortunately. So that will be P14 on the grid tomorrow, unless there are some penalties being taken, which I'm not sure about that. Lance Stroll knocked out in the Aston Martin there, but both Alfa Romeos through to Q3. Zhou Guanyu and Valtteri Bottas, absolute goats right there, the way they're performing. So yeah, let's jump straight into this sprint race, and let's get it done. It's going to be quite a wet one.
The downpours to continue into today's sprint, and this will make for some very tricky conditions for all the teams. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Sainz, Russell, Hamilton, Perez, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Bottas, Zhou, Stroll, Ocon, Oscar Piastri, Taylor, Magnussen, Gasly, Albon, Ricciardo, Sargent, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out. And with me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. The last few races have been a bit rough for them, unable to get a clean run. That's got to have some effect on their confidence, surely.
Certainly confidence is an important factor. And every time you're involved in an incident, it's not just the car you damage, but that confidence as well. But all the top racing drivers are able to tune that out when the race gets underway and focus on the job at hand.
Crofty and Anthony Davidson there talking about Lance Stroll, I presume, as we're going to have full wet conditions for this race here today. 8 laps, and they're going to be the longest 8 laps of my life, I think. Is good detail on the rain there. I've never noticed that on the side pod there. Cool detail. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's jump straight into this race.
Here we go then. The formation lap is underway ahead of today's sprint.
Of course, every driver starting on the wet tires as Charles Leclerc leads the field away.
We're almost ready to start the sprint as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
No strategy is going to come into play today, because I am very, very nervy going into this race. The chrome on that helmet looks fantastic. Look at all the spray. The visibility is not a problem if you're out front or in some clean air, but as soon as you've got a car in front of you, you're not going to be able to see a thing. As we have Nico Hülkenberg and Logan Sargent line up together on the back row. The green flag waves. Here we go, ready for the start of the Austrian Grand Prix sprint race. 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go. Here in Austria as a tentative start from everybody. We're going to go straight past Pierre Gasly in the Alpine there. And I just go straight into the back of his teammate, Esteban Ocon. Could barely see anything there.
Turn the position. Give it back.
I'm just gonna hand this position to Joe. I think I overtook him outside the track. So here comes the McLaren of Oscar Piastri, that is. Down into turn 4, and it's a very sloppy start for myself. Still able to make up just a few positions, of course. Sprint race, only the top 8 can score points. Usually I'd be using my mirrors a lot more, but I cannot see a thing in these conditions. Well, let's take a look at the start here once again. Lights out and away we go. Not the best reaction time for myself, as Alonso goes absolutely nowhere in the Aston Martin. And I just zoom over, as you can see, and I don't see how close Ocon is to me. I completely missed my braking point. Slam into the back of him. Luckily I don't pick up any wing damage, but then I go off the track and I pick up the place from Joe. Now that was a mistake there. And that's why Joe, I needed to give him the position back. And as I was doing that, Oscar Piastri took that as an opportunity to try to send one up the inside. As well as the Alpine of, that's Pierre Gasly. Trying to see what else I can do. And yeah, very chaotic start here at the start of the Austrian sprint race, but let's keep going. We've got Esteban Ocon ahead of us.
Start was okay. Now stay alert for threats around you.
Very, very tentative start from everybody. In dry conditions, the lap would be done by now, but we've still got 2 corners to go here. Of course, this is a start lap, so we'll be like 6 or 7 seconds quicker. It is so very wet here at the Red Bull Ring, as Ferrari leads the field. I believe that is Charles Leclerc who held position on lap 1. Look at the gap already between the front runners, the Mercedes, and then the rest of the field. Absolutely insane. So we go purple, actually, in the first sector. So we're going to try and move around the outside of Esteban Ocon. I think I was just a gear too high here. We're going to go straight past Alonso and possibly Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa Romeo. Just going to go a little bit too wide there. I think that might have just done it though. Whoa! Very close. I think I just got onto the grass there. As through goes Valtteri Bottas, and now Fernando Alonso's alongside me. Esteban Ocon ahead. My commentating isn't the best right now. Just trying to stay focused through these corners. So my apologies for that, as I lost 3 places in the span of 2 corners from that little mistake. Ooh, is he gonna push us to the inside there up against the wall? Oh, I thought about it. I thought about a move up the inside. Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa Romeo, but I think I might just get a run here. He's got the racing line, and I'm on the wetter part of the track. But still, I managed to just get a better run. But here he comes again, deploying his energy. And I'm just going to try up the inside. Ooh, I think he saw me in my mirror just at the last second there. He saw me in his mirror, excuse me. We're just going to try to gain on Fernando Alonso, but I think that's as far up as we're going to get today if we are able to score points.
And that's just 5 laps of fuel remaining.
So we're tucked up in the slipstream behind Fernando Alonso.
Our teammate by 4.0 seconds.
course, no DRS in a wet race. Stewards deem it far too dangerous to be able to use DRS and have these high speeds in these sorts of treacherous conditions. Now it looks like we're in a bit of no man's land here. It's Fernando Alonso ahead and Valtteri Bottas behind. We're gaining behind, but losing time ahead of us. And I think this is going to be quite a long sprint race to the end, with not very much action. Well, here we are, starting.
Okay, you just started the final lap of the race. Final lap.
I knew Mark was going to finish my sentence there. Starting the final lap of this sprint race, and Bottas has been.
A second to lap to the car behind. 1 second.
Bottas has been slightly gaining on us throughout this whole race, but in the previous lap, he's gained a second, as Mark just told us.
Is 6.8 seconds.
So we will be finishing just outside the points once again here for the sprint race. Of course, the top 8 getting points.
Lap of fuel remaining.
But tomorrow we will be starting inside the points. I consider myself to have a pretty quick pace around this track. As Charles Leclerc comes home to win the Austrian Grand Prix sprint race, just as he won the actual Grand Prix last year. Max Verstappen, I presume, comes home to finish second, and then the Mercedes get a 3-4. We're gonna come home P9, just outside the points. That is a shame.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
As we also pick up driver of the day, finishing 9th from 14th on the grid.
Let's see how the drivers' standings have changed. Max Verstappen now leads the Drivers' Championship. With the sprint wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
Well, let's hope so. As the rain continues to fall, hopefully it'll be dried up by tomorrow. As Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez 3 points away from each other in the championship here. They're leading the constructor standings from Ferrari. Today, Aston Martin picked up 1 more point. McLaren picked up 3. Alfa Romeo not scoring any, of course, but tomorrow they do have a very, very good chance of scoring some more points. We're even with them, so I don't know if Daniel will really be able to participate in helping us get some points, but Alfa Romeo, definitely it's going to be both Alfa Romeos versus myself for tomorrow, so we want to make sure we finish ahead of both of them. Lewis Hamilton coming home in 3rd with George Russell picking up 4th, so great opportunity to use both of their cars to manage the race and pace out front tomorrow. But yeah, this was a great sprint race that we had today. Showed flashes of pace. A lot of incidents, if I'm being honest. I collided with Ocon at the start, and then somebody else later on. Lots of contact at the start of this race, but tomorrow we're going to try to do better, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching.